Welcome. I'm Natalie Marsh. Real estate is all about relationships, and I'm here to help you navigate the journey. Whether you're a homeowner, buyer, seller, or simply love the topic of real estate, this podcast is for you. In each episode, I'll sit down with a friend and industry expert to bring you valuable insights on everything about homes. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's talk, learn, and grow together. Subscribe now and never miss an episode. So joining me today is Petra Trunkes. She's an amazing interior designer and works for all of the brands under Williams-Sonoma, which includes Pottery Barn, West Elm, Mark and Graham, and Rejuvenation. Petra, thanks so much for joining me.
Natalie, excited to be here.
So let's talk about interior design. Tell me how people start working with an interior designer. How can they find the right one? And what are the things that you do and you don't do?
Well, you don't overextend yourself, certainly. So, knowing your own limitations, like where you need help, where you don't need help, we pretty much all know what we like and what we don't like, which is not necessarily everything that will go into your home. But trying to narrow that down into, what's going to work in your new space or your current space is sometimes it's the little things that make a big difference. So I think if you can afford to have someone help you and you want to pursue that, it's finding someone who has a style that you have that has the same kind of feel that you want to get out of your home. And I do talk a lot about feel. Um, and you can find from there are plenty of other services out there. Our service is free. So I know there are other services that are free that will help you with no obligation to get you where you want to be. And I like to always start with not so much style because it's easy for people to throw around styles. I like things that are colonial, or I like things that are modern, or I want something transitional or farmhouse. Those things mean something different to everyone. So again, my basis as always, find someone who has the feel the way you want to feel when you go in your home, someone who can help you get there.
I love how you say the feel, but what about the personality? Because sometimes you can get pushed in a direction that perhaps you might not be happy with. So how do you make sure there's the right match for you and that person you're working with?
Well, certainly speaking with them and interviewing people, and I don't mean like a job interview, but having a conversation about what it is that's important to you and getting a sense of whether they have your best interests at heart. Because at the end of the day, it is your home. Um, Even when I'm working, I'll tell people, I'm going to present something to you based on the things that you've given me and what we've spoken about. But if you don't like it, I'm not insulted by that. It's your home. What I would choose is not necessarily what you would choose. Certainly the size, the function, that type of thing. But someone who's doing a good job should come in pretty close right off the bat.
Yeah.
But maybe as the homeowner, you're not able to be as articulate, or you're not able to convey the feel you want so much. So I think really talking to someone and really getting a sense that you want me to be happy in my house. You don't want it to necessarily be a showcase for your abilities, because we certainly have plenty of opportunities to do that in commercial and model homes and things like that. But you have to live in the space. And at the end of the day, you have to find someone who shares that understanding.
So we decide that we're going to start working together, and there are so many different options and so many different things that I can choose from. So how do you help them narrow down what they should be selecting for their home, not for, like you said, the showcase piece of it?
I think space, what we're working with, and again, how you want to feel in the home. Um, I used to use the phrase "come home to you," right? A reflection of who you are. So obviously, if you have a 60,000 square foot home, we're looking at very different pieces and probably a bit different feel, but not necessarily of a home that, like mine, is only 1,100 square feet. So by choice. So and knowing what your space is that you're working with, and that's the easy piece. That's very analytical. It's measuring spaces and understanding the full layout of the house and how pathways work, and how you use this space. But I think it is of supreme help to understand how you want to feel, and that being provide each of the people who are making the decisions. So if it's a couple, whoever the two people are, to provide some photos, online things they've seen, whether it's through Pinterest or House or any of the other multiple home furnishings places that are out there. Um, Drumming up some pictures that look like the way you want to feel when you walk in the room. So someone might want a very cozy space in the same house that somebody else would have put something very traditional or something really glamorous, right? With lots of bling. And same house, different feel. So those two things I would say are the most important thing. And you may not know what your feel is. I had one time someone sent me about 13 pictures of spaces and she said, I'm all over the place. I'm really sorry. I can't figure it out. I looked at them and I thought they were all the same. Now, they all had different products, but at the end of the day, they all had a similar light coming through them, an airiness, a lot of plants, maybe different sofas, but it still felt the same way. So, that made it very easy for me. Now I just need the analytical piece, like where are the walls, where are the doors, where are the windows? How do you want to move through the house? How do you want to use the room? And using those photos becomes really, really helpful in helping to get to the heart of who the people are. Of course, you could get very different photos from the two
Yeah.
principal purchasers. Um, but there is always a middle ground, and you'll always find something that is in common to the thread.
I love that. I love that. So you brought up a really good point of like putting that whole Pinterest board together for both of them. What happens if they both pick out something very similar, but it's not part of Williams Sonoma? Are you going to help incorporate that into the design and tell them that they can't buy it through you, but they can go buy it directly? Would you do that in your designs?
I'm going to try and get them as close as I possibly can. And I work with people who will come to me and they already have their sofa and they need a rug or they need a throw pillow or they're saying, what is wrong here? How can I pull this together? And maybe it's just you have the wrong draperies. It's not the wrong draperies, but the wrong draperies to get where you want to go.
Yeah,
Um, so for me, it's about the end game. It's about building a relationship with someone. And you touched on that earlier, right? It's about these relationships that we create with
absolutely.
people and a trust. And working with a lot of first-time homeowners, as I'm sure you come across as well, is their price point might be very different. And what I like to do is give them a full complement of a design for their room, get them so they're thrilled with it and they love it. And let's get what you can now and move into where you want to be eventually. And instead of, I think the tendency is, oh, I'm stuck with this sofa, so I have to get this chair, I have to get this table. And yeah, there may be a little wonky, uncomfortable teenage growth through that time period. But at the end of the day, you're moving towards your end goal and not having to reinvent the wheel at some point or never being happy with it. And sometimes we don't have precisely what you're looking for. I will bubble that up to our leadership and say, gee, we have a hole in the line here. We ought to think about filling it. But at that time, maybe we don't have a 80-inch something that's 22 inches high. So, but certainly getting them as close as I can and using a lot of our pieces from across the board. But I would prefer to make someone happy and get a plan that they can work themselves
I
into.
love that. Give them the foundation so they can build into their home and make it their home. More information on how to reach out to Petra, please check the notes. Contact information will be there. Thanks again and look forward to talking to you in our next session.
Thanks, Natalie. Have a great day.
You too.